Hey, so today I'm going to be going over a placement guide. This guide is slightly outdated. It is from season 21, but that should not matter. I include most of the more recent champions, however, a couple will not be included as likely you will not have them at a high rank. This does involve the stubborn global, so know that, and this is catered towards those difficulties that are inherent within that modifier. So, to start off, the first couple nodes, not really that big of a deal, but in terms of placement, you need to make sure that they are diverse because you want to get as high diversity as possible. And so for stuff like steady build-up Fury or running on fumes, right, as here you can see that I named some options. However, note that something like Mr. Fantastic is better somewhere else. So if you want high diversity, you don't want to go there. The more notable placements are node 4, Vigorous Assault, meaning that when they are regenerating, they cannot be blocked, so Green Goblin's a really good placement there. Aggression Fury on node 3 with Magic and Strike Back. It's a good one as well. You can just go through and see this list that I've made, but I kind of want to note the main ones. Void on node 17, buff Imbalance Power Drain, Blood in the Water. Essentially, you're going to have a lot of debuffs, and these debuffs are going to be supercharged. Really, really good placement there. I believe this is a mini-boss of sorts, and this is Iron Man Infinity War. His heavy hitter means that you can't punish his heavy, which is one of the easiest ways to get an in on him, so that's a pretty difficult placement. You've got your Mixmaster Korg, which is a pretty standard placement, but I named some alternatives in case you don't want to rank 5 a terrible champion, such as Nick Fury, maybe even a Darkhawk or Emma Frost. These are actually sorted left to right in terms of how good they are, but that doesn't, for example, mean that the one on the left is always the best. If you were to see, for example, Emma Frost and Doctor Doom, Doctor Doom is a better placement, but Emma Frost is more recommended because there are better places for Doctor Doom on this node right here. So, going back. EMP modification, Burden of Might. Basically, what you want to do is you want to force people to dexterity some specials. So, Mysterio, usually you play him very slow, and so you're going to be building up lots of shocks. Secondly, maybe Doctor Doom with the Mr. Fantastic synergy, but you're not going to be seeing lots of shock immune counters to Mysterio. Maybe Magneto if you want to be really risky. Footloose, Kinetic Transference, Crumbling Armor, Havoc. The main thing is Crumbling Armor here, and that is what makes Havoc and Void so good on this node. Encroaching Stun on Killmonger and Mysterio, Power Reserve. Once again, you want to be essentially having people who can spam specials. Mysterio, both of his specials, his first and second, are very annoying, and Killmonger gets lots of power, and obviously if he can back you up against a corner, that heavy attack can be pretty devastating. Steady build-up unblockable, Mr. Fantastic with his special 1 probably would just straight go unblockable. And even if he didn't, you've got Spry there and a couple other things to worry about. Rage and Enhanced Fury on Stark Spidey. This is important. If you don't have the Stubborn node, this is such an easy placement to kill. It's really easy. But if you have Stubborn, without maybe a Sorcerer Supreme and a couple other options, this is a really difficult node to deal with. Ebb and Flow Intercept. You got Thor, Ragnarok, and Nova. This goes for both Ebb and Flow Intercepts. As you can see, we've got node 29 and node 37. I mean, they both are auto-blocking on intercepts. I've also listed Iron Man Infinity War, Invisible Woman, MODOK, and Guillotine as other options. However, these two should really be your two that are on these nodes. Titanous Thorns with Colossus, as he starts with 3 armor ups. I mean, that's really easily ghostable, but maybe Guillotine. I like Guillotine on that node a lot. And Hulkbuster, but the problem is that there are actually better placements for them. We've got Powerful from Afar with Hyperion, and Spite, basically it is, while you're trying to bait his special attacks, he's gaining power even faster than normal. And this is very doomable, and probably Magic as well, but if you don't have a counter for this, you are in for a very rough time. Steady build-up unblockable with Man-Thing. The poison and the armor break, that's very difficult. The ebb and flow intercept here, I actually threw Void in as well. This is actually the mini boss Ebb and Flow Intercept, and Void's good because of the crumbling armor. Also Nova Mojo is also quite annoying. Let's see. This is probably one of my favorite node placements of all. The explosive personality node with Thing. If you don't bring somebody who has slow and can shut down that unstoppable, basically what you're going to see is when you're trying to push him to that rock stat counter, you're basically giving him the armors, and then it's going to go to 5 and you're going to take a ton of damage. So if you don't have a slow champion, you're in for a very, very tough time with this thing. I mean, maybe Blade, but regardless, that's not good. Okay, so now we're just going to move on to the mini-bosses. Return Policy 2 with Rage. Return Policy is basically when a buff is nullified, you get power. I really like Arcus on this node. I mean, Annihilus is really good as well, but I would highly suggest Vision Arcus over anyone else. Shifting Hazards, basically what we're looking at is... I mean, honestly, if it's not ghostable, that's really nice. But the stun immunity works really well with Medusa. Vigorous Assault, we've got Mr. Sinister, but with Warlock just shutting that down, that's not a good idea. I like Hulkbuster and Guillotine there as well. Sasquatch is a little bit new, but if you have him, could probably work quite well there too. But I believe he needs to be awakened. Not sure about that, though. We've got Node 51. This is basically Hurt Locker, and they spam Special 1 like crazy. So you've got Nick Fury. This is probably my best Nick Fury placement. Korg is really good there too, and so is Mysterio, but because those two are better on other nodes, Korg on node 23, obviously, and Mysterio on this one right here, the EMP modification, or better yet, the Power Reserve. I would just throw Mysterio here, Killmonger here, Korg up here on 23, and then I'd put Nick Fury on this Hurt Locker and just spamming Special 1. That's really good. The boss, you've got Dr. Doom a lot. I've seen lots of things in Tier 1 Alliance War, especially nowadays, but if you're lower than that, this is actually the Tier 4 nodes. Dr. Doom is just such a problem for even very skilled players, and so that's really good. If you don't have those two, you can do an Invisible Woman or Nick Fury or something, but the reason I put Invisible Woman here above Nick Fury is because Nick Fury probably is better on the node above it, the left wing node. Stunning Reflection, Polka Dot Power, we've got MODOK here. MODOK here is really, really good. You're going to see a lot of people attacking that with Magneto, but that's still a really difficult fight, as you have probably seen somewhere else on YouTube. I also really like Thing there, but once again, Thing goes on that other node up here with the explosive personality. So if you're going for the really good diversity, you might want to put someone else here like a MODOK. Dragon Man is also quite good there, but if you see Black Widow, Clairvoyant, or Human Torch, you might have a problem there. Aspect of Evolution, once again, Killmonger, maybe a Hyperion. The problem is the improved power gain helps him, and obviously the aspect of evolution improves it when you hit him, but the aspect of evolution doesn't actually improve his power gain itself, only when you hit it, and so at a certain point, it mostly is just quite annoying. I would probably suggest either Killmonger or Mysterio. And then we've got Brute Force and the best defense, which is essentially Evade and Limber. Domino's really, really good here. If you haven't used her somewhere else, Domino is quite good in a lot of different places. I actually like Terrax here as well because the Limber and the Brute Force, because basically with Terrax, when you push him to a special attack and he uses it, he has this aura that he has up, and you can't touch him, because if you touch him, for one, you're going to be close to him, you're going to be taking damage, but secondly, you're going to give him power, and that extends the aura. So Brute Force will really do a lot of damage here with Terrax, so that's the mindset there. And kind of with Korg as well, his special attacks are kind of long. If you try to just rush in head-on, unless you have a good counter, your medium attacks are going to do damage. So overall, just looking at these nodes, it's important to note that you basically find the counter to the champion itself or the counter of the node and make sure it does not line up with the champion. So for example, any counter to Havoc right here is going to be something like Warlock. Colossus actually can counter this node, but if you were to take something like Warlock or Guillotine 2099, you need that armor to counter Havoc, and that crumbling armor right there is just going to shut it down. Encroaching Stun and Power Reserve. You don't want to be throwing a whole bunch of special attacks and just having to bait somebody special from Killmonger and Mysterio, but you have to. So it's very important to note that, along with Stubborn and all these nodes and champion matchups, make sure that it needs a very, very niche and difficult counter, and that it takes skill and also a very specific champion to defeat it. But overall, this is my champion overview for Tier 4 Alliance War Defense, and the ones highlighted in green are the ones that I would very highly suggest placing, and definitely suggest even ranking just for defense. That being said, if you want access to this sheet itself, hit me up online, and that will be in the description below. And I hope you like it and can help people struggle attacking an alliance war. All right, thank you.